When I went live, the first day that I started the job, that is immediately after training, my first video sent me directly to therapy because I was like, oh my God.
I was working on sexual content, so yeah, they were trying to train that model not to generate text like very erotic sexual content. There are very scary stories of maybe it can scare some of the viewers.
Yeah.
But I used to work on necrophilia.
On what?
Necrophilia.
We are mentally poor. We are financially poor.
No, I'm not in that group.
Of course you are.
It depends
You
also
is
how you
poor.
define wealth in your own view.
Exactly, you're defining
For
wealth.
me,
let me tell you,
wealth is
poor.
not money and all that stuff.
It's poor people who say wealth is defined by other words. A rich man will never say, oh, wealth is.
We've seen such cases of people trying to commit suicide. We've seen cases of people taking much alcohol.
Yeah.
People doing crazy things,
And I also feel like most of the people here have not embraced therapy. Something like Illuminati. We are told that this is it is a movement, like it is not something bad.
Yeah.
But for you, maybe as a Christian, something like Illuminati, you are allowing on the platform. You are allowing it for people to.
Got you.
I'm remaining with very little faith. Please don't shake it.
Don't shake it.
Yeah.
So you can find that you are being told you have 8 hours to work, and they tell you to review 4,000 videos within that 8 hours.
Oh my gosh. What kind of humans are these people who run these companies and are okay with this? Like, honestly.
I
think it's a mindset thing.
No.
What have you
that's
done
just
since you
nonsense.
quit?
Because
What do you mean it's nonsense?
it's nonsense. Sit here and we think, oh, I have a choice. Oh, quit is a mindset thing. It's poverty.
LGBTQ in the policies, they are a protected group. So even if you're feeling like, man, this thing is not adding up, we were being told like, don't moderate with feelings, you moderate with the policies or the guidelines that are put in place.
If I would encourage someone to do content moderation, it's like I'm sending someone to death to go and die.
Your child.
As of now, even my worst enemy now.
Wow. And what impact has content moderation had on your lives?
For me, it has really messed me up pretty bad in terms of my socialization as a person. I've moderated a lot of accidents. I cannot even travel. I'm just there thinking, oh my God, something's going to happen. So I cannot stay in a crowd. I cannot go out. I'm unable to socialize. I'm having, how can I say it? Oh my God. I have had friends who've said their relationships kind of scattered because the other person does not understand. For example, we had a policy called how do you used to call it? Whereby people are just shaking their butts and you're watching nudity the whole day. So the guy was saying sometimes if the lady is in the mode, he's not able to, because he's like, I've watched enough of this today, I'm not in the mood. So
I can just say it has affected my own family, like me and my wife. Yeah, that is how it interfered with how I think and how I do things and how I relate to people, and it had an effect in my own house.
Hey, welcome to Startup Soko. Today we'll be discussing the topic of content moderation. If you've ever wondered how harmful and just wrong content is done, this is the episode where we'll be discussing that. And yeah, I'll start with a round of intros, starting with the guy there.
Mr. Black.
Awesome. And then over to you.
Yeah, so I'm Moffat Ochieng. I'm a content moderator who was moderating content for ChatGPT, and I'm currently the founder and CEO of Tech Community Africa.
Okay. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Hello, and who's this lovely lady?
Hi, my name is Mwakira Faustin, ex-content moderator.
An ex-content moderator.
Yeah.
Okay. When I was preparing this conversation, I was very surprised that many people don't know that content is moderated. They're like, what content is moderated? So let's just start there. What is content moderation?
Should I go first? Depending with the company's guidelines, it's just to like protect the outside user, not for to allow the harmful content to reach to the public. So you make sure that any content that is not conforming with the company's guidelines is erased from the platform.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clear. Any addition to that definition?
So just to make people understand what it is, content moderation is just a way of regulating user-generated content on the social media platforms like Facebook, TikTok, IG. So just to give an example, some people might want to post nudity online, hate speech, and self-harm and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So before they reach the users of these platforms, they have to be moderated, and we only allow what's good to go to the public and what's bad not to go to the public. So we pull them down. So that's what we call content moderation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, you're the first eyes that see like any content that's put there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. How's that been? Because sometimes, as guys, as content creators, like you sometimes see what the things that people say online can be extremely like hurtful. So I can imagine when people have been allowed to like post videos, say things, pictures, it can get quite interesting. So I'd love to hear your experiences with that.
Okay, I would say without content moderation, there will not be social media, because you can imagine of the genocides happening in every part of the world, and some people tend to behead others. Some people are doing crazy things, they are planning terror and all that stuff, so they would like to post these videos online. And then you can imagine of a situation where you go to a platform like Facebook with your mom and dad, and you see very crazy things, people dying, you see blood, nudity and all that stuff. So content moderation is a very important aspect of social media existence, but we are the first people to interact with this content.
The social media police.
Yeah.
Something like that.
We're like the watchmen of social media.
Yeah.
So if you allow every content to go outside to the public, then no one would like to go and use those kind of platforms. So we are like the firewall between social media and users.
So you're protecting the
Outside world.
The outside world. Wow, doing God's work.
Oh God. For me, I would say if content moderators weren't there, the situation will be chaos.
Yeah.
Be like a lot of chaos, because now you're not protecting, is it the child, the older person? And for me, the experience when I was there, it was fun and at the same time very traumatic.
Very traumatic.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah, it's a little bit. I don't know how to put it, because I remember when the internet was quite young, at least in Kenya. When I was in university, there was a website called rotten.com. I think it was pulled down.
Yeah.
So rotten.com was the opposite of what you're doing. They'll take all the gory images and put them there. So you find like a sniper in Afghanistan has shot some Taliban guy, and then they put that there. I don't know, when Tupac was shot and his mortuary morgue videos. And,
oh gosh.
No, but the thing was that people wanted it. That was the crazy thing.
That was fetish or something.
Yeah, so they were like, and I think at some point it was like a very highly ranked website all over the world. So I think policies came later on about gory images, and each social media has its
own policies.
Each had its own policy. So on a little bit of a crazy bit, that there were people who were seeking such content, while there's a general public which maybe the US government says, nudity is not right, showing dead people is wrong, because also that has changed. If you read about Europe in the medieval ages, so when there was a public hanging, it was like a concert. So people would come and even hire rooms next to it. It was great. There's this thing called hanged, quartered, and drawn.
Oh, okay.
It was a punishment for people who have done serious crimes like murder, treason, sedition, and things like that. So it's first of all, you get stripped and then you're drawn with the horse. So your legs are tied with the horse and then you're taken round like the city square or there. And then sometimes the hanging will take like an hour or two.
Jeez.
When you're about to pass out, they wake you up.
Hey! My God.
That was torture.
That's torture.
Yeah, and people would sit there for hours. People would walk from one city to the other to come and view that. It was it's something that people really wanted to see. Now, bringing it forward to our modern world in this case, do you think you moderate from a point of law or whatever the social media policies are? Because like Twitter allows nudity,
Yeah.
but Instagram does not allow nudity. What's your opinion on what should be regulated and what should not be regulated?
Okay, let me go first, then I'll pass the mic to my colleague. Okay. So, when moderating this content, we use policies for the companies that bring this work to us.
Yep.
For instance, if you're moderating content for TikTok, we'll have guidelines from TikTok on how to work on their platform.
True.
Okay.
Same to Facebook. So if you have, if you're doing moderation for Facebook, they will have their guidelines on what they term as content that might violate their policies and all that stuff. So it depends with the platform that we are working for.
Yeah.
And then we are also into policy making because nudity in the context of Africa is different from nudity in the context of the US, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, for instance, I'm just giving this as an example. You can be told that if you see a very small part of a of a lady's breast, you term that as nudity. But you know, in some part of Africa, that's normal.
That's cultural.
So we also try to protect those users so that we don't violate their personal rights, because you know, if you term something like it's not violating any rule in the context of where you are living, and then we pull it down, you know, it won't be fair to you. So we also try to tell those guys, because they're in the US, we try to tell them that, you know, this policy should be maybe adjusted to this point so that we don't violate some of the people's rights based on where they live. Yeah.
I feel like I'll just echo the same thing he's saying. There are a lot of things to look on while you're deciding the policies. And if you're asking us like what to be allowed and not what to be allowed, whatever I like might be boring to you. Well, people have like very different fetish from what I saw. So I think it just depends with the platform guidelines, that platform that you're working with and how they want things to be done, and also the geographical area, because what is normal to us is not normal to other people. So like there's a lot of things to check when you're deciding what you're going to allow and what you're not going to allow.
Is content moderation a form of censorship?
Pardon?
Is it a form of censorship? Like, are they trying to...
I understand, for example...
I don't know. I don't think
ISIS wanted to recruit people when they were in their heyday through the internet. And you're sitting in a house and there's a video telling you to join this thing. And I think that's when like the really thing about content moderation became a big thing, because the extremists... I even think Al-Shabaab does it. They try to recruit people through... a video. A reason why it's trying to put it as a censorship, because in the US they've had the debates, for example, on Twitter, on what should be allowed and what shouldn't be allowed, and how Elon Musk brought back
everything is allowed.
Everyone who was
and
banned.
you're like, what am I seeing on Twitter usually? I always go ask.
What's the weirdest thing you've come across in content moderation?
Good question, yeah.
Yo, may have a lot. First, I think when I went live, the first day that I started the job, that is immediately after training, my first video sent me directly to therapy, because I was like, oh my God. And I didn't understand, or I didn't know fetish existed until I went to content moderation. And I just realized that people have all sorts of weird, like,
so what was
weird,
this fetish you saw?
I don't know if it was fetish, but somebody recording another guy. So there's this dead body of a lady, and I think they were in the bush.
Oh God.
You see, you've even started.
Where is this in Kenya?
I don't know, because
Oh,
for
you
me,
don't know where?
Okay, for me, I was moderating the Swahili side, but sometimes I will get videos even way beyond the Swahili area.
Oh.
You'll get videos, for example, when Gaza went rogue, you will just find yourself that those videos are coming to your
They're coming to you.
Yeah, and you'll have to moderate them. So the one I saw, I don't know which country it was. So the lady was dead in the forest, and the other guy is taking a video of this person cutting.
Oh my gosh.
Let me not continue. So it's like so weird. I have like very weird.
So how did you, let me ask you, at that point, why didn't you quit?
Wow. I remember when I was going for the interview.
Yeah.
Whatever I did as an assessment was something like so sweet and very simple. And I was like, if this is what I'm going to do, I'm in. Yeah. So the problem was the company did not give me the job description of whatever I was going to do.
Oh, no.
So I was just crossing from one line of business to another.
Yeah.
So when I was moving to the other side, the other client that I was working with, everything got classified starting from the email and everything. So there's no way that I'm going back to this side. Oh. And when we started training, because the lady who was doing the training was from another country. I think she was from Morocco. So we were doing the training online. And she was sharing her screen and I'm like, yo, wait, what's this?
Oh, no.
And she's saying, you guys have not been prepped on what you're going to do? And I said, yes. And now that's when she gave us the job description. And we never thought like it's going to be that bad until now I went live and saw the first video and I just started screaming. And I said, like, I can't do this. I want to go to therapy.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So from there, they just like told you to try and build your resilience to be able to like, what?
if there's
It's
anything,
your resilience. What the
if there's anything that AI could do, should be this.
Yes, I feel like if it can be modified.
But the AI needs trained data. So someone has to come and mark this as
as a violation.
Okay,
I feel like there's a time the system. I think they're trying to do that, especially with the comment section or something said verbally. You find that the system tends to detect like. Or a nipple or something, and like, oh, no, this is nudity. You find that it is just reported directly. Yeah. But I feel like maybe in the next coming years, we can reach to that point whereby it is not done manually by the people, but by the AI.
By the AI.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
It's life, I mean.
Yeah. I don't know this life.
See the way
I'm just like, do you have any other...
Yeah, so for me, my express was more into training language models.
Oh.
Like ChatGPT, it's generative AI stuff. So my work was more into training data that the bot will use to regulate content on its own.
I think, because at some point, I think content moderation should be phased out as a career.
Yeah.
Because in 2013, I think, just before the election, I worked on a project. It's called Umati. We were tracking hate speech online. So as a data scientist, we need labeled data.
Yeah.
So we can train the models to automatically detect. So you'd come today like, hey, how many have you labeled today? Now, did you know that these guys sit there on Facebook and read and go through the worstest abuse and all those kind of things? I didn't know that from a science perspective. There's someone who has to
do that manually.
To do that all day, every day. They just read nasty things. Yeah. That's their work. But at that point, unfortunately, someone had to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the company went ahead to organize therapy, blah, 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 if you needed.
Yeah.
For that.
This before or after your...
Before?
The doing, like, looking at the... When are you going for therapy? Is it after or before?
I think it's after.
Okay.
Well, once you have seen something or you've encountered several things that you feel like you're not okay, then now you can go and see a therapist. So I would think, is content moderation or moderator a career or maybe it's a job?
Yeah.
But is it a career?
Yeah, but I don't know, I'd imagine a lot of the content moderation is happening on the continent. Like I don't think it's happening in the places where the social media platforms are being built. Like a lot of it is being outsourced to Africa because of like affordable labor.
It is also because I heard Germany and UK.
Oh,
They're
okay.
doing, but at least for them, it is not as bad as on this side of Africa.
Yeah.
For them, at least the labor laws, at least they know that these people exist, and they're trying to put the right measures
to make sure that
they're okay.
Yeah.
Even if you look at the wellness time, that is the therapy time for them, and the number of hours they're working per day, it's very, very different. And also the wages, it's very, very different from us this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are the differences, if you don't mind?
From the workshops that I've gone, at least for them, the wellness, they don't work 8 hours or 9 hours like us. I think it's around 4 hours per day. And even when you're working and you feel like, no, I'm not okay, you're allowed to like just go. And then whatever they're moderating is not as gory or as bad as to this side. Yeah, but for us,
so the gory things come to Africa.
They come to Africa. That is so unfair.
What they do, ideally we should have content being moderated in every part of the world.
Yeah, where it is being created.
Based on the language.
Yeah.
So, for instance, you can't find Swahili language being moderated in Germany because that's not their language.
Yeah.
But now, that's the plan we have in Africa. Africa, we have so many African languages.
Yes.
And all of them should be moderated.
Yeah.
So what they do, which I don't feel is the right thing to do, we moderate sometimes language and sometimes we moderate videos and pictures. So they can take a video from Afghanistan of murder, and because they know, if you watch a video of murder, you can tell this is a murder. Or if you watch a video of maybe someone carrying a weapon, you can say, this person is armed.
Yeah.
So instead of taking those videos to where those crimes are happening, they bring all of them to Africa because African can see and then moderate that kind of action which is happening.
You have more resilience.
Yeah.
That's the word.
Just get more resilient.
Get on with it.
Yeah.
Oh no, that is like really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But I think I have a question. I know that policemen see a lot of gory stuff.
Kind of trained for that. I mean, when you're entering the job.
So if their policemen are trained for that, then why can't content moderators be trained for that?
So what happens, that's the problem we actually have. Because, content moderation, it's a very dangerous job if you are not well equipped and all that stuff. But the hiring process here in Kenya is very weird because they advertise something else and then they put into content moderation. For instance, they can advertise that they have a vacancy for customer support, and then you apply for customer support.
It is kind of customer support.
You can sue the company for false advertisement.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah.
But which Kenyan?
We had people coming from Nigeria, and they said they had applied for customer service.
Oh wow! So they're just doing content moderation.
Yeah, but
I think those Nigerians would do the job pretty well. I remember when was it Dusit or Westgate? I think it was Dusit. I'm not sure, one of them. So I was at work at iHub. So we were just there, having fun, working, pizza, drinks, whatever. Then all of a sudden we see the screens, news flash, blah, blah, blah. And then in the office you can see the tires burning. I think it was Westgate for that. Everyone was now frantic, getting on the call, calling your loved ones, people changing their plans, and all kind of things. And then there's this Nigerian guy who was in Kenya for maybe 2 or 3 months, and I was hanging out with him at that time. So it's like,
what did is happening? This one. How many died?
So far, we like 50 people.
Boko Haram kills 500 in a day.
And he was like, what's wrong with you? He was like, I'll go have my beer and head home, because it's like, I think,
just the magnet, the numbers.
So if you are, I'm quite sure if someone is from Pokot and life is very rough there, you can wake up in the morning to graze and find someone butchered along the road or things like, over time, it starts being
normal. You're normalizing it.
So if you throw him or that, is like, I'll identify for you. But if you've never encountered that life and then all of a sudden you see it. This is like trauma of the trauma test.
Yeah.
Things could be done. So I think maybe she'll find the people who are already predisposed.
To these traumas. But who deserves to? Like, I don't think anyone deserves to.
I would say no one. I think if you look at the modern interpretations and things that the law says we're not supposed to expose.
Yeah.
I would give an example, like those people in the medieval age, were they different than us? They're still human, but they were just brought up in a place that seeing someone getting hanged
It's normal.
is normal, right? And then as we modernize and we are similar, like, hey, nudity means different, we're taking away, try to make life as civil as possible, right? I'm quite sure in the 1900s, when the British came here, walking naked on the street was okay.
Yeah.
Because all Africans used to walk naked.
Yeah.
Right now, if you walk naked,
You'll be arrested.
for that. So it's values have changed.
Yeah.
And those values are now being challenged by these things that are happening.
Yeah.
It's like, for example, something has never happened to your life.
Then it happens.
Like I remember, like, for example, your sister disappears, and then you're told by the cops, you go and report, you're told, go visit morgues.
Jeez.
And you've never been to a morgue. The first time you do that,
It's very traumatizing.
it's like a very worst thing. So I don't know whether training should be exposed to you because, like, this is what you're getting into. So it's funny, but do you think you should be exposed to those things? Or maybe it's a stupid question, but do you think so?
But I want to say there is no job in this world which is bad, because, people do all kind of bad jobs. Civil content moderation itself is not a bad job, but we're just calling on the process. For instance, if you tell someone that you are going to do content moderation, you are going to work on sexual content, and you are going to do this for 8 hours a day, you have an option of saying yes or no.
Yeah.
Yeah? So for instance, if you take someone who is suicidal, and then you don't tell them that you are going to watch suicidal videos, and then they go there, watch those videos, and then they heal
Have
themselves.
ideas. They have
So who is to
ideas on
blame?
how-
So we just want to. It's good we have a clear hiring process where you tell people what they're going to do. You do for them some kind of mental assessment so that you can know.
They don't tell you because they know everyone will opt out.
Not everyone,
Not everyone.
There are people, if you tell me that,
There's people who love.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There are people who love sexual content and they can say yes. There are people who can say, because this is terror and I like karate, this is a good job for me, I can learn some stuff, So people have different choices and different preferences. So if they explain to you that, you can say yes or no based on what they're about to enroll you into.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about this. How did you guys enter into content moderation? Or did you just apply for a customer service job and found yourselves there? Is that like how it happened?
No.
Okay.
For me, I was working with the company that I was working with at that particular time as customer service.
Oh, you're working at, and then?
And then they told us, like, there is a new client who is coming. Did not give us the name, told us it is content moderation. So they told us to apply, whoever wanted. And then they sent the assessments. We went to the office, did the assessment. And then after that, that's how I went in there. They did not give me the job description.
They did
That's
give you
the part that I felt like they should have
given you a job description.
Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have gone there.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you?
Okay, so for me, I had been training data for machine learning for so long, and I was working on natural language processing projects, and they were just normal texts. Like, I remember the last one I worked on before enrolling into content moderation for ChatGPT, I was training data for a finance model.
Okay.
And that will generate some kind of financial stuff. So when I was being moved to this data work of content moderation for ChatGPT, I wasn't told that, you are going to work on this kind of content. So for me, I was just moved because the company felt that, Moffat knows English and they can do this work perfectly. And,
That's where you pretend I don't know,
Yeah.
English. Yeah.
So they didn't tell me much about the work itself, but I found myself there.
So what's the worst you've seen written in ChatGPT? I'd imagine it's a lot of racist comments?
Yeah, so for ChatGPT is very crazy. I was working on sexual content, so yeah, they were trying to train that model not to generate text like very erotic sexual content, see some child sexual abuse materials, and then illegal sexual content and all that. So they were trying to feed that tool with such kind of content so that if you type anything erotic, the tool will generate it.
People are twisted.
They really are twisted. Like the racist madness.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So the craziest thing, there are very scary stories of maybe it can scare some of the viewers.
Yeah.
But I used to work on necrophilia.
On what?
Necrophilia.
What, they don't even know what that is.
It's just
No, let him go ahead.
necrophilia means sexual advancement with the dead people.
Oh.
Such kind of stuff. So
people ask ChatGPT, here I am, help me write an email.
God have mercy upon us.
People are like...
So there are very crazy stories that, if I tell, you can be scared, and I don't want someone to get scared of such kind of stories. But those were the tests we're working on necrophilia, pedophilia, child sexual abuse, erotic content, and all that stuff. Every dirty thing that comes with the sexual content.
And this is, the location is, you're doing this, like location is Africa or Kenya, or are you just doing general?
Okay, for sex is universal.
Oh, yes.
So they were somehow in the global context, but from very dark websites. Yeah.
From there, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And now you guys get paid a lot for this since you're clearly doing God's work. Like, honestly, like if I'm doing such things, like, pay me well. What does the wage look like for?
Wages were not that good because we try, in Africa. That's why I'm right now AI and human rights activist. I'm trying to be very vocal about what's happening in Africa in terms of data training. So I do try to compare what's happening now with the slavery that used to happen in Africa before. Okay. So African slaves, they were being gotten through African chiefs. So you go to African chief and then you give them some gifts, then they give you slaves. Yeah. So it's the same thing happening now. Yeah. Those are very big companies with very big revenues, like OpenAI. ChatGPT is for OpenAI. And right now, ChatGPT is also generating billions of dollars. So if they come to Kenya, they come through Kenyan government.
And we know
and lie
government.
to them, and say...
Yeah, because I remember when Samosos, they sued Facebook.
Yeah.
And I think Facebook has also been sued in other jurisdictions about not taking care of their workers, and Facebook was leaning, not Facebook now, Summer, on the local labels. Because maybe in Europe, they're a little bit of tighter labels here. But here, we're Africans, and Africa is our business. Yeah. So if you say anyone, if you're relating slavery, anyone who is weak, if it moves out of Africa, maybe they'll go to South Asia, maybe to Philippines or somewhere else where the labels are weak. Yeah. Maybe the government is corruptible and things like that. Then I'm like, okay, now these are the guys who deserve the gory stuff. Give it to them. Yeah, if you're weak, unfortunately, you always get exploited for that. And if you go to court, they'll hire the best lawyers. They'll ensure that.
I do think like if you can use your voice to advocate for the right things, like that's an option, like always an option.
Yeah, I get. I'm personally, I'm not so big on activism because I don't believe it has a lot of impact. Mm-hmm. Very tiny impact. Because unless you go against the Kenyan, you have to go against the Kenyan labor laws.
Yeah.
That means going against the president. That means going against the minister, going against all those corrupt people who allow those. Because in some countries, they really care about their citizens.
Yeah.
And they're like, we can't allow our citizens to see this thing.
Yeah.
But Kenya like, hey, hauna kazi na unapewa kazi unaacha. Kufinya tu computer.
Mimi nauliza nyinyi vijana wa Kitale. Tukiweka kompyuta kwa ICT hub hapa. Kompyuta itashinda nyinyi kufinya? Yaani kufinya kompyuta iwashinde? Sasa hata nyinyi mkishinda na kufinya kompyuta sasa muache kunisumbua. Ama na magari jameni.
And dollars come into your pocket.
Yeah, dollars are coming. Dude.
What is the problem?
So unfortunately, that's why I think it's good to be an activism, but I've never seen very few cases where activism has really translated into. People will tell you Martin Luther King, but those are outliers.
But in my own case, I've seen positive impacts. Because before I started this, someone was paying people 21,000 Kenya shillings. And just last year, they increased salary to 27,000 Kenya shillings. I've also seen Facebook. No, let me call it Meta. So
We know it as Facebook.
Yeah, you know it as Facebook, but the company is called Meta. So Meta was also working here in Kenya, and then when we became very vocal about what they are doing and the injustices, they had to move. People will say, we are trying to scare them or chase them away, but we're just trying to
mutual respect.
Yeah, to make them be responsible. So even if they move to Ghana, because they moved to Ghana, we still have our people there who will be putting them on books.
Okay, Africa.
So
I have a question based on something you just said. So you managed the salary to be moved from 21K to 27K. Then my question would be, if someone is paying you, let's say the salary is tripled, would you care about the goriness? It's like, let's consider it a highly dangerous job, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hey, you're earning 27K, but I'll give you 100K. Would you mind about the goriness?
For me,
okay.
So no amount of money would move you. Okay.
So we'll say, why do you work? You work to have a good life and take care of yourself and your family.
Yeah.
So if I give you a work that pays you 10 million today and then you die tomorrow, will that work really benefit you?
Or your mind just messes up your mind.
I might argue that at least my family.
As 10 million, at least my family is okay.
Yeah, different vibe, because someone was telling me about how, especially these extremist groups, they recruit you until like, hey, if you die, we'll give your family, I don't know, like 1 million Kenya shillings or something. So you go say like, I'm okay blowing myself up because I know now my wife and children will have something. If I don't take this opportunity, we'll just be in the village and life will equally be terrible.
Yeah.
ROC, what would you want to be in future?
Stand up.
Yes, you.
Stand up.
Stand up.
I would like to be a terrorist.
So no amount of money would change. It would make the job feel
like we
lighter,
can't sell.
easier.
We can't sell our mental health with those kind of rights or payments.
Some things can't be unseen. Like how we say, like I can't imagine. I mean,
no, one of the things people do in economics is you increase the price and then it becomes lucrative. And people start doing the cost-benefit analysis. It's like, I'm okay messing up my mental state if... Sometimes it works in certain scenarios.
Yeah.
In other scenarios, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. And probably it seems like content moderation doesn't work.
But again, if you go that route, will we have a future in Africa? Because, this work is killing Africans who have potentials of being presidents, prime ministers, change makers. So if we bring all youths, give them this job, we interfere with their sanity, and then which kind of Africa will we have in the next 10 years?
But I would counter and say, you're poor. Unfortunately, in the world, if you're poor, the value of your life is very low.
No, it's not that way.
Of course, it's true.
But I think Chris,
because the reason
I think
why
he has a point. An empowered youth.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, social media is like messing the youth.
Let's do a very simple comparison. No, let's do a very simple comparison. Here in Kenya, do you find someone who lives in Runda, Nyari, or Karen going and rolling for a police job?
No.
No, I always tell myself
Why?
before I die, I can't say I'm poor. So even
Amen.
the West profiling Kenyans or all Africans to be poor, like you're just 22 years of age and someone is profiling you
We're
to
not
be
poor.
No, we are poor.
You don't have anything. No, you don't have anything. No, no, no. No, you don't have anything. You are empty and empty and empty. You say
Very poor.
No,
We are mentally poor. We are financially poor.
no, I'm not in that group.
Of course you are.
Chris,
It's the truth.
let me ask you, Chris.
Yeah.
You know-
if for some reason,
Yeah.
like today or like for a month, you didn't have money to buy food,
Yeah.
you'd find someone would give you food, right? In Africa.
No, because
Yes or no? The answer is quite simple. Simple question.
why do people die of hunger in
Why can't you answer
Turkana?
my question?
Why do people die of hunger in Turkana if what you're saying is true?
I'm asking Chris.
But as myself?
Yeah.
No, because I have networks, I have family.
Exactly. That is
I
your
have-
richness.
Yeah.
That is
So
African for you.
Can that buy nuclear weapons?
Why
Can
don't
that
we need a
would I
nuclear
want nuclear
weapon?
You of course need it because otherwise,
What?
let me tell you, right now, if I go to YouTube and now think I'm seeing it on Instagram, there are adverts by Ukraine where I think they're using local Kenyans to try and entice us to take the side of Ukraine, or saying that the Russia's invasion is causing hunger in Africa because grain that used to be
Yeah, yeah.
exported in that. And you feel embarrassed because you're a Kenyan. Ukraine and Russia is almost 5,000 miles away.
It's none of your business.
But because of your cheapness, you get hired for doing this propaganda on behalf of another
Yeah.
country. So we are poor. Period. It's not something we can argue
Stop
about.
generalizing.
No, we are poor.
Maybe it's more fun.
No,
We're not
it's
in that
you.
group. You alone.
No,
you're
it depends
You,
also
one is
how you
poor.
define wealth in your own view.
Exactly. You're defining
For me,
Okay, let me
wealth,
tell you,
wealth is
poor.
not funny and
No,
all that stuff.
it's poor people who say wealth is defined by other ways.
emotional, damn it.
A rich man will never say, "Oh, wealth is because they know at the end of the day,
Okay.
right?" And I don't know whether I've argued this before, right? If war breaks out between Kenya and Uganda, do you know what will determine who wins? Whoever has most money, because you'll buy better weapons, you'll hire more people. So at the end of the day, money is richness. It's one of those things that it's very hard. The reason why US can come and dictate things to Kenya is because they're
They have
richer than
money.
us.
Yeah, true.
They can't say
Yeah, I mean,
Shift
I
to
don't
China, because China-
disagree with your
Okay.
with that idea.
and now that you've agreed you are poor, then you're exploitable.
No.
It's a fact.
Now,
Okay, let's think about in Sharks, you usually get that daughter there whose mother died and have to come and work as your housemaid. And you pay them 1,000 or sometimes 5,000 because they're exploitable. Do you come to Nairobi like someone who lived in Buruburu to come and become your housemaid? Like 99% of housemaid usually come from extremely poor families, right?
But, let me tell you something, my friend. Things have changed.
friend?
We are in a modern world.
Right now,
What
they're being trained.
determines your wealth is the knowledge you have here.
Nah.
Ulisikia wapi? Ulisikia wapi?
Now,
Let's go right now and
that's
use
the
your knowledge
equalizer.
to get a Mercedes SLR 500. Let's go. Let's use your knowledge.
Everything is a process. You know,
Yeah. When you lie to yourself that way, it feels at the end of the day, right? If something happens in your village, in your company, it's usually the person who has the most money who steps in.
and then
You can have your knowledge,
Huh?
but he has the money. So what you think about is the one who will find it, right? You can think of the most brilliant. Do you know why countries have dictators? It's because they can fight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then they'll hire you and your mind so that they'll tell you, okay, now I want to become a loved dictator. How do I make people love me, right? There are certain sources of power. One of them is money. So once you're poor, now go to the next, you're exploitable. That's why you can exploit that lady over there. All those ladies going to Saudi Arabia and getting whipped and people shitting on them and doing crazy things of them. It's because they're exploitable. They come from a village where the mom is sick, the dad is an alcoholic, no one went to school.
True.
And they become people you can exploit. And despite all those crazy things we see on TV and social media, people still go in troves. They won't be like, life is very hard in people getting killed.
Anyway, away from us, you being poor, me, I choose to write a new narrative. I'd want us to just kind of switch gears into, I know you mentioned that you asked for therapy after like seeing very gory stuff. What was that process like? Was it easy? Did you get paid time off or?
One of the, I think it is, you're supposed to have therapy.
Yeah.
It is part of the package. And in those 8 or 9 hours you're working, we used to have one individual therapy for you alone. You can talk about work, you can talk about anything in life. And then we had the demand session. Now the demand session, that one came when now you could not stand it while
it's
you're
just
working.
like too much.
It has just happened. I've snapped, I can't work. And then now we
What
had
does snapping look like?
Depends with you.
Punch computers.
You will scream, you'll cry. The other one will not be reacting at that particular time. Just depends with you. Yeah, and then we have now the group wellness, because now we were in a diverse environment, because there are Swahili, there are Somalis, there are Nigerians. Yeah. So with the group wellness, we get to go to know each other. Yeah, with the different cultures, and just to know how are we going to relate.
And trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding, yes.
Oh my God, I saw this. What did you see?
But mostly we don't talk about that. We just talk about something.
Okay.
Yeah. Does this lead to like substance abuse, alcoholism?
For most of the people, yeah.
Oh no.
For most of the people,
coping mechanisms.
Yeah. So you just find whatever works for you.
I know something else that works very well too.
What?
Yeah.
And it's not dangerous.
What is it?
Please don't
Coitus.
listen to him.
Coitus. Okay. I don't know whether is that a strategy?
I don't know.
Okay. But at least there was some form of therapy being given.
Being given, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But
And for you?
I would say, Kenyans see things differently, and this is a new work in Kenya, and so Kenyans don't know more about what's really happening and what needs to happen.
Yeah.
Or what needs to be done. So for content moderation, in Kenya, they have wellness coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, I know wellness coaches.
No, a wellness coach is not well equipped to handle content moderation and mental toll that it comes with. That's why you see in the US or in the Western countries, they don't have wellness coaches. They have psychiatrists to understand what they do. So if you bring a wellness coach to support content moderators, it's like you are taking a nurse to go and do a surgery. That's something they are not trained to do.
Yeah.
They don't know what's being done. They have no idea. Or taking a matatu driver to go and fly an aeroplane. It can't work that way. So wellness coaches, they don't, however much they can be there to support, but the support itself is not bringing any difference.
Big results.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why you find people do it their own way. Some sometimes get overwhelmed and maybe try to commit suicide. We've seen such cases of people trying to commit suicide. We've seen cases of people taking much alcohol.
Yeah.
People doing crazy things, So we need to see, we don't want those wellness coaches to support content moderators because they are not helpful. We want to see professional psychiatrists who are on the floor, and they should also be available 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also feel like most of the people here have not embraced therapy. You'll find like a guy saying, now what am I going to tell that therapist? Like,
So
I
content
cannot
moderators.
even cry. Yeah. I cannot even cry. He's a man, I'm a man. What am I going to tell him? Like, I can imagine. So most of the people have not embraced it. Or also the way he's saying, maybe they're not doing it the right way for me to understand that I might be really needing therapy.
Yeah. Just correction. Personal opinion is that therapy should be used sparingly.
Sparingly.
Yeah, because outside of
work,
outside of like gory things, slowly you're supposed to be building your own resilience. But if you have a therapy to always go to,
you cannot be going all the time or most of the time because they need you to be working. So you just have like a small stipulated time for you to like.
Then that makes sense, and I think there should be a class of careers that have that, because it's doctors, nurses, policemen, morticians. They get to
go for therapy,
crazy things.
And I was talking to some content moderators in Germany online, and they also saw the same thing you are seeing now. That they want to professionalize content moderation. They want to have some kind of training and certification so that before you get employed as a content moderator, you should have that certificate.
I think it's for it, if it becomes a career and you'll do it over 5 years or more, then more rules needs to go into it, and the training and the preparation has to be...
That one will make sense.
Has to be like half of the things you go through, because most of the time it's about how you can withstand. And I imagine in some cases, maybe if your religious background might prevent you from
seeing
or doing
allowing some. There are some. How can I say it? For example, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this. Something like Illuminati. We are told that this is it is a movement, like it is not something bad. But for you, maybe as a Christian, something like Illuminati, you are allowing on the platform. You are allowing it for people to.
Got you.
But you as a Christian, you're feeling like, no, I'm not doing the right thing. Something like this should not be allowed for people to.
So Illuminati is real, is what you're
telling me. Yes. So they're telling you, if they're just advertising themselves and saying...
You've never read
Da Vinci Code. Like, God, I did not really want this. I'm just doing...
It's a very interesting story but watch Da Vinci Code has a little bit of it, but essentially it was just a group of people who the Catholic Church never liked. So the Catholic Church branded them as being devil worshippers.
We are not even going there.
You don't want to go there.
No, I was just saying about how you're religious.
I'm remaining with very little faith. Please don't shake it.
Don't shake it. What do you guys usually have, like KPIs or metrics you have to hit as a moderator? What are they?
For me, there was how do you call it, accuracy? That is, if we are moderating the same video, what are the chances that you're going to tag the same thing, I'm going to tag the same thing, which is correct, that is depending with the QAs and whatever I'm thinking. And then we have utilization. That is how busy you are on the system. Attendance, if you've attended your schedule up to the end of the month. Which one else? We used to have productivity. They go change depending with the person deciding, like, this is what you're going to add. So we used to have another one called productivity. That is the number of videos you've moderated per day.
And how long are the videos you are moderating?
It depends on the queue that you're in.
But sometimes would you moderate, say, like 2 hours worth of gory?
No. 10 minutes. The longest that I did, because now we have the live queues and now we have the other videos. So the other videos, the longest that I would moderate, especially pornography, for some weird reason, they were very long, like 10 minutes.
Hey, Jesus Christ of Nazareth.
Just being tortured there, 10 minutes.
You should be paid a lot for that.
Yeah, man, like, honestly.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's usually the toughest jobs that pay
way
the
less.
least.
Yeah.
And you more so it's the same kind of metrics and KPIs for you?
Okay, so I've been working as a quality analyst, and our major KPI is to ensure that quality is up to date, like it's aligned with the client service level agreement.
Yeah.
So every time client brings work, we have what we call SLA, service level agreement. So they can say we want a quality score of 98% and above, or 95% and above. So that's what we focus on as quality analysts. But in my experience also, because I've been working with those who are doing that work, most of the KPIs that they struggle with, that the company is taking advantage of, is productivity.
Yeah.
So you can find that you are being told you have 8 hours to work, and they tell you to review 4,000 videos within that 8 hours.
Oh my gosh. 4,000 videos.
Yeah. And then, if you're given that high target, you won't have target for break, you won't have enough time for lunch, you won't have enough time
You guys
for
are strong,
counseling.
man. How long did you do content moderation for? Me,
1 year plus.
1 year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Over a year.
And you?
So me,
He's a hard.
He's a very strong guy. That's why he's saying he's rich.
me, I've done this thing for over 5 years, though in different,
Oh my gosh.
not specifically content moderation, but training AI models.
Wow.
Yeah.
You remember your bills, and then you go. you head over to work. Unfortunately, because I've never worked as a content moderator myself, but I think now 2 companies apart from iHub. I worked for another company, but it was less of what he's talking about mechanical tuck.
Mm-hmm.
Where something comes up, then you're told to label it as this, or this, da. So you just sit there with
That's easier.
Yeah, that's easy.
probably.
But 4,000 hours.
Those are some of the things
Videos.
the agents are struggling with.
Ooh-wee.
I think at some point,
Have you guys talked to the employment, like lawyers? I know you're advocating for it through your stuff, but like...
For us, we talked to the company and we told them that it's too much.
And did they listen?
It's too much. So what they did, they made sure to give us like targets every hour and also add people, because by then we were very few. Yeah.
So what did it come down to?
Right now here, before I left, they gave us tasks to work per hour, depending with the queue that you're in, because there are those queues that I can just use the snippets to just know, like, at this particular moment, this is what I'm going to watch. So you can just be viewing faster. And then the ones that now you're watching like a movie, there is nothing you can do about it. And if it is slow, it is slow. Yeah.
No,
this is heavy, man. Yeah. It's just also really unfortunate that that this is happening in like Africa, and I don't think like mainstream media has talked about it.
Yeah, this thing is not about Africa. This is about who's the poorest. Facebook, Meta, whoever, TikTok. Now, if you professionalize content moderation, which means now you have to pay more because they have to undergo training, certification, and all that accumulates. And say now, let's say if it.
But what kind of humans are these people who run these companies and are okay with this? Like, honestly.
Now, if you are CEO of company X, whatever you look is a balance sheet. How much money can I? Right.
Yeah.
And I would say, I've worked in various companies where people are like, let's care about people, let's care about their well-being and all that. When shit hits the fan, they only care about the money.
The money.
That's the thing. That's why we can talk about 1,000 things. Almost everything starts boiling down to money. Where can we cut the costs? Right? What can we do this? You've become expensive in Kenya. You've professionalized. Now we'll take this to another exploited country. Let's take this to Nepal or somewhere else where there are no rules or weak rules that are there. Unfortunately, someone in those big companies will see it that way. How much money are we going to save? Oh, we pay $500 for a Kenyan person where we can pay $100 to someone in Nepal. Then let's do it.
Yeah. Hey, okay. So you've left content moderation. You're not.
I did quit.
Get into. You quit.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. Quitting is sometimes what you need for peace of mind. Honestly.
I really admire people who can wake up and quit.
Yeah.
But
it's okay.
It's very circumstantial. There are people who wake up and like, if I quit, my whole family is going to go into disarray. So you stick there, not because you want to, because you haven't found something else to move on to.
No. Yeah.
And you'll find a good number of people who are stuck there.
Yeah.
Their mobility is limited career-wise.
Yeah. But I don't know. I always think sometimes we need to change that narrative. There's I think it's a mindset thing.
No.
What have you
that's
done
just
since
nonsense. Because
what do you mean it's nonsense?
It's nonsense. We sit here and assume Kenya's like us.
No, it's not.
The people who come
not.
from dire backgrounds, like extremely dire background. Like in the whole village, you're the only one who lives in Nairobi, and you have cousins.
For real?
See, this is the thing I'm talking about. This is that Kenyan Nairobi thing where, like, obviously, when I had the same mindset when I went to university. There was this guy who would buy. He would come like with a bale of unga, and every day he would go and in the morning wake up, buy cabbage for 30 bob or whatever, cook all of it, then he'll eat in the morning, come and warm it up at lunchtime. Hiyo mali imeharibika unakata. And unaendelea. I was like, because the food in the mess was about 15 bob during that time. Then meat was 25 bob. It was affordable. I'm like, what can this guy just get? 15, until this guy told me he comes from Isiolo. And even when he had to come to campus, he had to call somebody because he'd never been to Nairobi. Then he has his sister who is in high school. So the money he gets from HELB, he has to send back for his sister to go to high school. Now you tell me that person would like take a job and just quit because there are so many dire people whose backgrounds are very different. They have no support system. Also, when you're joining university, there are a lot of people who, it was their first day to come to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And they're asking for directions like, hey, right now I've just registered. I've been told I need to go to a bank. I found a guy who I had to take him to the bank and show him how to open a bank account. And then I realized we sit here and we think, I have a choice. Quit is a mindset thing. It's poverty.
Poverty is a crime, as far as I am concerned.
It's poverty.
Yeah.
But again, we can't advise people to quit because if I'm comparing...
Really, if it's messing with your mental health and causing you to kill yourself?
Now, let's take it this way.
It is a personal decision.
It's okay, I agree, it is a personal decision.
Let's take it this way. During coronavirus, if we told all doctors and nurses to quit that job because it was dangerous, you can imagine how people would have died.
Yeah.
So even content moderation, we can't advise people to be quitting because it's a work that is there to stay. There can't be Facebook without content moderation. There can't be TikTok without content moderation. So if you are telling people to quit content moderation completely, it's like you are saying, let's do away with TikTok, let's do away with Facebook and all that very nice social media.
Imagine if we said that, let's do away with it.
But
that would be
I
great.
agree with him because one of the things we also forget, we can stay in our good lives because we have cops who deal with thugs. If all cops quit...
Yeah.
Let me ask you, imagine if there were, say, worst case, there were no content moderators and some content came on and you looked at it. And you're traumatized. I'm never using this thing again.
Yeah.
No, I am never, ever again.
I have a different opinion about the specific thing that has to be regulated. I think there are a niche that needs to be regulated. Things like child pornography. That I think should be moderated because we agree that a child should not fall for that.
Yeah.
Others are halfway in, halfway out.
What? Murder? Video in a murder?
Let me ask you.
Honestly.
Let me ask
no.
you.
Why would you do that?
Let me ask you.
Showing yourself that you're dying, killing yourself on like why?
Hold on, take it easy. Let's say you've killed all form of bad content like murder. It doesn't prevent you walking out of your house and finding someone hanged on a tree next to your house. Yeah, right? It doesn't prevent you from going and seeing a policeman shooting somebody for that. So it does not take it away from you.
But social media amplifies the number of people who are seeing it. Like all you need to do is one video, millions of people have seen it.
But does not eliminate it.
It doesn't, I agree. Yeah.
See? So certain things, it's, I don't know how to put it. Like the story I told you about, like you have a relative who's lost and now you're forced to go to those morgues, right? Yeah. And you see decomposing bodies on the morgue. It's at some point, you're a group of people who have been tasked to go and look for your lost cousin. Yeah. No one wants to go to the morgue because everyone is like, I'm protecting my sanity. So they look for the guy who looks damaged and tell him to go. So who are you willing to sacrifice to be the damaged person in your society? then we'd rather not look for him. Let's assume he's lost and we all move on, because we all want our soft life. We all want to preserve our brains. And
no, but I think, Chris, you need to remember very many different people have different like mental resilience.
But now at some point you have to build it. Remember when they said about pain cleanses your body and your soul?
Yeah.
Right? There has to be a bit of that put through your system, right? Because if you ever care to read about history, and I think we've talked about this before, about how cycle of countries becoming rich and then ending up, it's because the founding people were warriors who've seen anything. They come in, they conquer a place, they become traders. So they become more traders, and then the children of the traders become intellectuals. Intellectuals are the ones who come up with, oh, this is too gory. And then they lose their fighting and their resilience, and then somebody else comes and conquers them. So building that resilience, not that I've said like there's certain things we should not agree that.
Yeah, we shouldn't.
We shouldn't do it. But others, we can say like a little bit of exposure is not that bad. It's not that too much exposure is bad. Like you need to know these things happen. It's, for example, death in the family, right? You have kids who have never known that there's death in the family. But then like, hey, sometimes these things happen. It's not like you wake up every day and show death to them. And it's like, such things happen. And so that when it happens, they can at least, the people never recover from such things.
Yep. I mean, I think definitely resilience, but also, I don't know, I'm a big believer in choose your hard. For me, that is just...
And the problem is
that's too much.
Like they said, when you have those things called cues, they don't choose whatever comes to them.
Yeah, it's just coming through.
So similar to you cannot choose your hard. Life will not tell you like...
Sometimes you have choices.
No, you can just walk here and find someone killed. You didn't choose, you not say like, oh, I'll never see anything like that. It's not your choice. You're going to work and find someone disemboweled next to the road. And it's traumatic, yes, but you never choose, unfortunately.
Yeah, some I guess is that. Okay, but anyway, she quit and I'm very, very happy for her. What are you doing next?
He has not quit and I'm happy for him.
Maybe, okay, general question. Do you find like content moderators, are there more females than males doing content moderation?
Just both of them.
It's both.
Just both of them, yeah.
Maybe the best question is who lasts longer?
Yeah, who lasts longer?
In the career.
I don't.
No, the truth is very, very few people quit that job. Very few people quit.
Oh, really?
And so we just want to ensure that those who are there, because it's a work that is not ending today or tomorrow. So we just want to ensure that those who are doing it for their own reasons, because maybe that's the only job they have, how can they be safe? And if they're supposed to be safe, we're supposed to be responsible for their safety. So that's where the conversation about policies come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can we have policies here in Kenya or in the US that protects them? And can we have a system that can pay them well?
Yeah.
So if there is someone somewhere who can make these changes, why can't we push them to make those changes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you have you ever moderated content and it's so gory, but you're happy that you've done it? Does it give you a sense of, I've saved someone from sin? Did you get that sense? Is there a sense of achievement once you've seen something that's so awful?
Yeah, I can say content moderation is just like any other profession. If you're a soldier, you go to battle and then you die. You die a hero. Saying that, I died protecting my country, So it's just the same thing. Content moderators, as long as, we are doing this job and we pull down a terror video, those who are planning to go and attack maybe KICC.
Yeah.
And then we pull it down and then it goes to DCI. After pulling it down, it goes to professionals also. So if we pull down a terror video, it goes to DCI. They investigate and get those people before they do the actual terror.
Damage, yeah.
So, by doing that, or maybe there was someone who was maybe teaching children on maybe how they can disrespect their mothers or how they can poison their whole family,
Oh, really?
So if you pull that this kind of stuff down, you are going to save people. So we are proud as content moderators for saving the entire world.
Amen.
Because without us, then so many crazy things will be happening. Yeah. Imagine someone like me, if I now know, like someone come and teach me how to make maybe a very dangerous drug, and then I go and inject people along the streets, So we protect so many people, and we are proud of it.
Yes.
I'm proud of you guys too.
Yeah.
That's I say that's true
Yeah.
to a certain level, like recruitment in extremist groups. I think that works in other areas. I remember I was watching a comedy from Chris Rock, where he says every time there's a shooting in the US, the first thing they go and check their computers, like what have they been searching, their browsing history. And then he's like, the people are just mad.
Yeah.
And there's no amount of things they would watch that would make them. And actually, those mass shootings used to happen before internet was like a big thing, and like Timothy McVeigh blowing up FBI offices. That happened before the internet.
So they're just crazy people out in the world.
Oh yeah, there are crazy people. That's why I was saying you'll never control what hardness comes
My way.
to you, because once that's pulled down, the crazy people invent something else, which I don't know. But I think it's a code for communication. That communication has to be clean. It has to be lawful. It has to be. That's why CA in Kenya regulates things, and I think that there's now like misuse of misuse of telecommunication device law for that. So I think that's what they make it easier for CA and perhaps DCI when it comes to terror and things like that.
Do you guys use any social media platforms?
Yeah, we use them every now and then.
No, actually, aside from work, like just when you're not working.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's why we are actually against those who are saying, TikTok should not be operating in Kenya. TikTok, as like many people depend on it to get their money. So we can't allow it
and
to...
killing brains too, right? Look, would you connect it to that? Sorry for cutting. Would you see somebody enjoying social media and then you're like, you're enjoying it because of me?
Yeah. So you can imagine if we become very careless in Kenya and then we say, you know what, guys, we don't want to moderate our content.
Yeah.
Or we say, all content moderators in Kenya, we want to go on strike. We won't be moderating this content. TikTok will have to close for some time in Kenya because, without moderation, then it can't really work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I just remember, like, the mainstream media, there's actually a code of, like, ethics or code of standards that there are certain things, if you show CA, just cuts off your licenses.
And then you remember there was some young boys who went and stole phones somewhere, and then they were posting it on TikTok and saying, we've taken this. So, such kind of videos, if you pull them down, they go to DCI dig deep, and then they're going to arrest those guys. It's like helping people again to recover their own stuff.
But people are just dumb as well. Like, who does that? And you, do you use social media?
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
No.
Okay.
But I have the platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess my final question is around, like, I find sometimes the internet, social media is just getting worse and worse and worse. Like this, I don't know. And maybe it's just, like, sometimes you get on these platforms, you're depressed in 2 minutes. You're like, I've just been shown everything depressing that's happening.
Yeah.
What are your viewpoints on that? Like, is it just kind of the same, or people are just okay to share the weirdest stuff, and you're just like, why are you naked? Like, fully naked, like, and Twitter's allowing it, so it's just like, maybe I'm also growing old, I don't know. But it's getting to a point where I'm just like, it's getting too much.
So I would say, that's happening, but again, we don't have control over it as social media users. We don't have control over it because for TikTok, for example, TikTok people now speak vernacular languages like Luos. Luos go there and speak very vulgar things and all that stuff. But, there's no content moderation for that language.
You've been called out.
So they're focusing on
How do
Swahili.
you know I'm Luo? You've just mistribed me.
I've mistribed you. That's a new one.
I'm also not a Luo myself, but I'm just using it as
Okay.
Yeah. So we also need to see if we can moderate all the languages.
Oh, well.
Because now they're just focusing on, like in Kenya, they focus on Swahili.
Oh, but this
as the main language being spoken in Kenya, and then they leave
the
those
other languages.
Yeah, the other dialects.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I think is it's not social media's problems. It is the people's problem.
Yeah.
It's even without social media. I'm sure if you go to Kondele, people will still be giving you that rawness, right?
But I do, Chris, whether you understand, like social media amplifies this. Like just because
But you
someone has
see,
seen
if-
it,
if
they'll
you-
be
if
like,
you-
oh, me, I
but-
can act like this,
but
I
if
can
you are
talk
to-
like this,
If you
I
had to
can...
do a root cause analysis, it means taking away social media would have people doing less of that, right? And I think something that I think I read and agree with, when you have a generation which has nothing to aspire for, go for. Our great grandfathers were like, let's kick out the beberu, let's kick out. They had something to fight for.
Yeah.
Then our fathers were like, let's build our finances. They were very big at building community for us. And then for us, we were like, oh, we want to be the brightest. I want to get an A. I want to go to Alliance. Now, what do those people want? Una ni kuna kuna ni kuna. They have no aspiration. And actually, they have no problems. So that's why when I was talking about pain comes and recalibrates everything. Let's say if you undergo war or there's disease or death or something like that, it cleanses the society. It is wrong thing to say, but over history, when I was talking about that cycle of people, when you take away a struggle, right, you're robbing society of a problem which they only occupy their mind. So because you have no problem, you're there like, what do I do? You twerk.
I mean, I don't know. I do think like some of this, like TikTok, it's like a way to, again, maybe
Escape.
I'm a conspiracy theorist, but it's our youth have taken, like the youth in Kenya, that's all they're on right now.
It's not just used in Kenya. If you go to Europe, the US, it's the same thing.
It's global.
It's a generational thing.
Yeah, the youth are just being wasted. But I also think like sometimes I've heard, and I don't know whether this is true, maybe you guys can validate, like say like TikTok in China, it will show like really good content to show a father.
Just take a look at these videos and you'll see a suspicious difference between the TikTok we know versus China's version of TikTok, Douyin. Because while our version of TikTok is being fed with just more of this and this and this, just more suggestive videos, just more and more dancing trends, just more idiotic, wasteful content with tens of millions of views and just more and more silly pranks, well, the people of China only get served more of this. Teachers in classrooms, science experiments for kids, showcasing architecture and technology, even sports. I mean, they take this so seriously, they even have specific categories on Chinese TikTok for knowledge and physical education.
Working with their child. Then in Kenya, it's just rubbish or people dancing, doing dumb science.
But,
is that?
But you see, even if that's true, it's not the Chinese problem or TikTok's problem. It is your society. You've created a society.
I'm pretty sure there are people who are using TikTok for good in Kenya, but we don't see a lot of that.
But you see, that comes from you having an aspiration or a problem to solve. I want to sell more goods. I want to preach the word of God. I want to do something.
But where are the algorithms pushing the dumb stuff is my question. Why?
You can blame the algorithm. You don't want to blame the person who's responsible for parenting has changed.
Yeah.
And all those kind of things. You don't want to blame your parenting skills. You don't want to blame anything else. You're like, algorithm! Let's kill the algorithm! Let's kill the algorithm. You'll take away the algorithm, you'll take away TikTok and realize those people are just becoming still dumber. And there's something else.
I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that.
If we draw a graph of how much information is available or how much technology is changing and dumbness, I think the more information is available, people become dumb.
Dumber.
Because once the information is scarce, people become smarter because they have to look.
Yeah.
You wake up in the morning, there's Netflix, there is Amazon Prime, there is all these things. There's Glovo to bring food to your door. I know there is everything. You don't even have to think. The algorithms think for you.
Yeah.
And then because you have no personal struggles in life, then you become susceptible to those things. So I think you should deal with the individual. I'm not saying that all this should be like, oh, problem. Like I said, people complain about obesity in the US and they blame Coca-Cola, they blame McDonald's, KFC. They just found somebody who's willing to take them.
It's access to how fast you can get that food and the cost.
Yeah, but if someone told you like you have to go slaughter your own chicken.
That will take some time.
So my parting shot is don't become gullible. Don't become exploitable. Find the best means.
But that is contradictory to what you're saying. Let's say, as you said, we are poor and we're already
There's a way
exploitable.
of doing away with the poorness, and that's grinding, putting yourself into communities, chamas, groups, figuring out investment opportunities. It's the hard job. It's not sexy, but the reason why we sit here is because our parents did it for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any last thoughts on?
Okay, I will say as I finish is that in this generation we can't allow to be exploited by big companies. We can't allow technology to be used to kill us, and we can't allow our people to be in slavery. So every time they bring tech work here in Kenya, they have to have at the back of their mind that it's being done by people.
Yeah.
And these people are humans. They deserve the best, the very best. So we will still continue fighting for the best. We want to see a world where everyone's rights are respected and that everyone benefits equally from technology. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah, I would say you do you, because at the end of the day, it's you. If you want to quit, quit, because you need yourself, you will need yourself being okay to be able to move to the next step. And also for me, is to just create more awareness to people, for people to understand that content moderation is done by people and they also have rights.
Amen.
Yeah.
I love that. And yeah, just thank you. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on set. I think, as I mentioned, many people don't know there's this thing called content moderation. So I honestly believe, like, you guys are doing God's work. You're protecting our children. You're protecting our friends. You're protecting our peers. And I just wish for you at some stage to, like, get the respect, get the pay. As you said, maybe not all content moderators should quit, but continue using your voice to advocate for the rights in this space. So, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, too, for having us.
There you have it. If you have any thoughts around this topic, if there's something we didn't touch on, yeah, very, very enlightening for me. Definitely lots to share and lots to think about. So, bye for Harry.
Peace out. Mr. Producer, it's your time to be on this side.
Always of the back end, like moderators.
Whoa!
I moderate the podcast.
I think putting your ID means that you can be traceable in case of anything. So if they're doing that, which I don't know if they are, but if they're doing that, I feel like it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I also think so. If they have that kind of verification, then it's going to help so many things, because if you're using your own, if you know you can be traced, then you won't be able to be careless with your social media page. So it's a good initiative. I just want to encourage them to do it the right way. They keep people's data safe.
Yeah.
They make the system not to be maybe bypassed, because, someone can also use a different, like someone else's identification, and it brings so much trouble. Yeah.
I think I know a country where this would never happen.
Where?
Germany.
Oh, yeah.
I realized, someone was telling me, I was meeting a German, that they never put their actual names. So I would say like Christopher somebody. because they have a memory of the Stasi. When you say something wrong about the government, they know your ID, they know where you stay. So it could be easily misused by repressive governments.
LGBTQ in the policies, they are a protected group. So even if you're feeling like, man, this thing is not adding up, we were being told like, don't moderate with feelings, you moderate with the policies or the guidelines that are put in place. And yes, I feel like with the geographical area, things like that, maybe in our society we are not allowing as much as we are modernizing everything, then we should be also having the policies that tend to lean on the side that we are. Yeah.
So they're actually a protected group.
They're a protected group.
Who else is protected? Children?
So if I say LGBTQ negatively, they will be saying now this is hate speech. Yeah. So kulikuwa na LGBTQ. Can I remember them? I can't remember, but that one was a protected group. Because I remember moderating a lot of content from Uganda, and Uganda, they're like, mkipata watu mchape, sijui mfanye nini. You're there like, I'm supporting, from my opinion, like, I'm supporting, but now I have to tag like hate speech, Yeah. Because now even in Kenya, there are those groups of LGBTQ, and they also want for them to be recognized, and they also have rights. Yeah.
So do you encounter cases where, especially Africans or Kenyans, report something as offensive or inappropriate, but as per policy, it's okay?
Yeah, for example, the live videos whereby, who do I know? For example, I'm having a live video, and I have identified myself as an LGBTQ, and people are coming to my live and wananitukana pale like sijui umefirwa sijui nini things like that. So whoever is moderating that live at that particular time, the comment section, it's going to be flagged. We are going to tag like kulikuwa na matusi hapa, there was hate speech here, so yes, it's going to be tagged.
Twitter is just like, what is happening?
Twitter is, after Elon Musk bought it, it was the home of free speech. And now, American definition of Kenya, hate speech is not, whatever is hate speech in Kenya is not hate speech in the US. Yeah. If I say I hate Muslims, it's okay. That's hate speech in Kenya.
Yeah, that's hate speech.
In the US is freedom of speech. So Elon Musk said he wants to make Twitter the heaven of freedom of speech. Come and say what?
Sometimes I'm like, do I live in this country? These people is what I wonder sometimes. It's just scary.
Yeah. But what I like it gives you the raw emotions. Because once content undergoes moderation, according to statistics, we say that there's a selection bias.
Yeah.
You're not getting the real feelings of the people because the very extreme feelings have been filtered off.
Yeah.
But now when you're getting everything, now you know exactly how the society
like,
feel.
And somebody is
a proper sample.
I tend to disagree with you, because in as much as what you're saying in a theoretical perspective is true, the reality is with the free speech, it's just there's nothing really free. It's not like you see people having debates and they're able to speak. It's more like just pornography and death. Like, so especially
and cyberbullying.
And cyberbullying, exactly.
Which is leading people to...
I'm not saying... what I'm saying is, this is exactly who people are. It's for... the way people say that early Twitter was good, it was educational and all that kind of thing, right? Because it was sampling from rich people. It was sampling from a group of people who... But they self-regulate themselves. Yeah. When Twitter became ubiquitous, and then you can get someone from the dregs of the country... It's just meaning you're sampling more of the country. I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm just saying you're not getting the real feel of what the country is.
The issue is, I know her podcast is growing, and then I'm hating. So you'll find that people are just reporting because they hate this person, and there is nothing she has violated. And you'll find that they're putting those account warnings or they're banning your account, and it's because just they hate. So we just have to do it to just confirm that she's doing the right thing, and this is just hate.
Like Andrew Kibe. People just like, you're like, if you don't want to watch Sunset, nobody is forcing you to watch Andrew Kibe. But it's just, I felt like, then don't leave it to the people, honestly. Honestly. They are haters, they are your enemies, and they're probably, then that's a small percentage.
And that's the problem with Twitter. According to, there were some things that were released that it was more left-leaning, so that the policies and the things that leftists liked, that's what became the policy. But Elon Musk, we also have the right, who also want to hear Andrew Kibe.
Anyone should talk.
If you're not feeling it, just
swipe and subscribe
and that's the whole
it's so easy.
basis of freedom of speech. You might not agree with it,
but humans are interested. And then they come and watch and listen, and you're like, who has asked you to be here? Like, if you don't want to be here, like, it's just like
you will trend on hate.
Your child.
As of now, even my worst enemy, no.
Wow.
As of now, because there are things that are supposed to be put in place, and they have not been put in place, and I feel like they're not even heard in these companies. Most of the people do not have a voice. So as of now, no.
Yeah, same to me here. As of now, I can't advise someone to be a content moderator because there are no systems put in place to support them. So if I would encourage someone to do content moderation, it's like I'm sending someone to death to go and die. And I don't want to do that right now.
Just send me to Haiti.
But he just said...
He doesn't want people to quit. But don't join. Just...
those who are there,
let them stay.
Let them stay.
Actually, a question...
As we make things change, yeah. But those who want to just now join them.
Just chill, kidogo.
Yeah.
I have a question. What impact has content moderation had on your lives?
Oh my God.
I don't think I asked that question. If you can tell me what impact it's had on your life.
Do you have tissues?
Do you have tissue? Yeah, we do.
No, I'm joking. For me, it has really messed me up pretty bad in terms of my socialization as a person. Right now, I think I've stepped back. Currently, I'm not working. I've just stepped back because the main reason why I resigned is because I felt now that where I am mentally, I am not okay. And the people around me, my father, my mom, they just realized that you're not okay. And for example, I'm this person who likes hiking. I'm a sociable person. But it has reached a point I cannot... Right now, we were with him in town, and ananiambia anakuja, and then I'm not seeing him, and now I'm becoming anxious. I've moderated a lot of accidents. I cannot even travel. I'm just there thinking, oh my God, something's going to happen. So I cannot stay in a crowd. I cannot go out. I'm unable to socialize. I'm having... How can I say it? Oh my God.
Oh, yeah. Pole. It's okay.
So I'm just in a series of rebuilding, understanding myself, trying to be who I was before I can start moderation. I have had friends who've said their relationships kind of scattered because the other person does not understand. For example, we had a policy called how do you used to call it? Whereby people are just shaking their butts and you're watching nudity the whole day. So the guy was saying sometimes if the lady is in the mod, he's not able to, because he's like, I've watched enough of this today, I'm not in the mood. So very many people are having those side effects. For me, it's a bit traumatic. I have signed up gyms because it's the only way I can ease my pressure. I'm not able to talk to people more often. I'm going for therapies because now that's the person who is there to hear me out. So,
sorry.
For me, I won't share much about my experience because it will make me so emotional. So
it's okay for you to be emotional. I think sometimes that's how, like you see, even Chris has kept quiet.
Yeah.
It's important. I think but do what you're comfortable with. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I wouldn't share much about how it has affected my own life, but I can just say it has affected my own family, like me and my wife. Yeah. That is how it interfered with how I think and how I do things and how I relate to people, and it had an effect in my own house. So I now don't want to share that into details. Yeah.